This year of midterm elections, we'll have several highly contested races in our area of Iowa and Illinois, races for governor in both states, both state legislatures, in Congress, House, and Senate seats. Chuck Grassley's decision to run for an 8th term in the U.S. Senate at 88 years old has 4 Democrats itching to take his job. Abby Finkenauer, Michael Franken, Glenn Hurst, and Bob Kraus. You see them there. Now let's follow the money in this Senate primary. This is the cash on hand in campaign accounts at the end of the third quarter. Fourth quarter reports aren't in yet. Kraus and Franken joined the race in the fourth quarter, so there is nothing to show for them as of yet. Finkenauer, though, with close to $600,000. Hurst far behind that at $32,000. Even Finkenauer's money actually pales in comparison to the more than $3 million Chuck Grassley has in his coffers. Now, we will get to know Abby Finkenauer a little better this morning. She should sound familiar to you. Finkenauer was born and raised in Sherrill and graduated from high school in Dubuque. She earned her bachelor's degree in public relations from Drake University. Immediately after college, Finkenauer worked at the Community Foundation of Greater Dubuque. Well, Finkenauer was clearly drawn to politics at a pretty early age. As a teenager, in fact, she was a page for Iowa Congressman Jim Nussle, and in college was the Iowa volunteer coordinator for Joe Biden's then presidential campaign in 2007. Now, there is a reason she does have money so early behind her campaign. She's done it before. Finkenauer was elected to 2 terms in Iowa's House of Representatives, serving the Dubuque area, then made the jump to Congress, where she served 1 term, but lost her re-election bid to current Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. Abby Finkenauer brings the most prominent legislative experience of the 3 Democrats running for the nomination, and the least amount of life experience, if you will, because she's the youngest at 33 years old. A stark contrast from the man holding that job right now, who is 88 years old. Former Congresswoman and current U.S. Senate candidate Abby Finkenauer joins us for a conversation. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you. Excited to be here and chat today about all of the things.
We'll see. We won't get to everything. This is a long race and a lot of issues affecting the country. Yes. You clearly think it's time for Chuck Grassley to go, though.
Oh, absolutely.
How much does his age have anything to do with your decision to run?
You know, it's not so much the fact that he's 88. It's about the fact that he's been there for 47 years. And what has he done lately? And, you know, I'm somebody who, when I went to D.C., I remember thinking, okay, this is a place where you can go, you can work across the aisle, you can try to get things done, and I did. I mean, I had over 20 bipartisan bills that I introduced and passed a bill within the first 2 weeks of being there, but I also saw you had folks, and Democrats and Republicans alike, who've been there for decades and who are sitting there on these back benches, and I don't even think they know why they're there anymore. They just keep running, and it's really disappointing to see kind of just how the special interest has sort of taken hold of these folks. And it's why I think term limits is so important, and it's why it's time we replace Chuck Grassley.
Well, you want to go back to Capitol Hill after serving 1 term in the House, this at a time when more than 45, I think it's up to 47 now, incumbents decided not to run again in Congress. Politicians I've spoken with in the past who have left office have expressed frustration with the dysfunction in Washington. You kind of referred to it now.
Yep.
There's also that political rancor that's part of that dysfunction, not just the special interests. Why go back to that? How can you think it would be any different this time around?
Truly, it's because I watched it all. I was there. I saw these folks, again, be there for decades who don't even know why they're running anymore. Folks who are getting committee assignments because they've been there the longest, not because they actually know the most about that particular subject. That's why our democracy is in trouble right now, because you have politics working the way it is, because you have this kind of, undercurrent in Washington, D.C. of these corporate special interests that have this grip hold on these politicians, and it's gross. It's what's wrong with our politics today. And honestly, the more I've gotten out there and talked to Iowans across the state, the more they feel it as well. I mean, the amount I've heard folks call for term limits since I got into this race and call on Chuck Grassley to just be done is pretty extraordinary. And it's not just Grassley, though. There's folks there, again, who have been there for decades who just think, I don't know if they think this is the British monarchy or what, that you're just supposed to keep passing the name on and the seat on, but that's not what this is. This seat belongs to Iowans, not the Grassley name, and it's about time that we actually give it back to Iowans, which is why I would not serve more than 2 terms in the U.S. Senate, because it is time that we continue to make sure it is with Iowans and not just somebody who's been sitting there the longest.
This is an interesting primary for your party. One of your opponents ran for the party's Senate nomination in 2020. Michael Franken came in a respectable second in the primary without the big party money behind him as his opponent who ended up getting the nomination. The other candidate, Glenn Hurst, is politically active as a city council member and a party chair for the 3rd Congressional District. Why are you the Democrat who should win the nomination?
Well, I love Iowa. I mean, it's where I grew up, a daughter of a union pipe fitter welder and a public school secretary. I'm first generation college grad who watched this state growing up here, seeing my friends, some of them moved away because they couldn't find the right opportunities here. And it's part of why I ran for office in the first place, because I saw folks like my dad getting screwed, to be honest with you, when it comes to workers' rights, when it comes to being able to just have dignity on the job versus having all of the power in the corporations. I mean, we saw that play out here in Davenport and across the United States, but very specifically in Iowa when it came to John Deere and the UAW strike. They had such a loud message saying, hey, we're here, we deserve dignity, we deserve respect. And that's why I, again, got into this in the first place, because I saw that slipping away from our politics. The other piece is, you know, when I went to DC, I didn't join any specific kind of caucus, whether it was, you know, the progressives or whether it was the Blue Dogs or the New Dems, because I didn't fit in any of them. And also, I had no interest in joining something that just told me how to vote versus going and showing up for my state every single day. That is how I've been. That's how I always will be. And quite frankly, it's why I've been the only federal Democrat to win Dubuque County since 2014. Because those are the folks I show up for. This is not about, you know, just some title or something like that. It's about public service, and it's something that I take very seriously, and I think we need more of in the United States Senate.
Quick correction, again, there are 4 Democrats in the Iowa primary for U.S. Senate. Apologies to Bob Kraus. More of our conversation, though, on the way. Spending concerns, what aspects the candidate likes and doesn't like about the president's Build Back Better plan. For the record.